What NBA players bought with first check. NBA players make big money nowadays. It wasn't always like that. In 1984, Michael Jordan, one of the highest paid players ever, signed a $2.8 million deal for 4 years. Fast forward to 2019, and Zion Williamson lands $44 million for his first 4 years in the NBA. Williamson and other big names these days also immediately nail endorsement deals, beefing up their already bloated salaries even more. For instance, Williamson already signed a $75 million shoe deal in addition to that $44 million from the Pelicans. So what do these players do with all that money? Well, today we're going to see how they got started as we check out what 10 NBA players bought with their first check. Number 10, Harrison Barnes.
This game looks crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because that's rare that I've seen a phone app have, a TV ad.
If you were drafted number 7 and signed a $2.8 million contract, what would you go out and buy right away? Car? House? Lavish gifts for friends and family? Not Harrison Barnes. He had always wanted to sleep in a nice bed growing up, so he took his first chunk of cash to the mattress store, tried out every option in the place, and walked out with the finest one they had. And I'm sure he said, as we all do when we leave a mattress store, how the heck am I gonna get this thing home? Number 9, Klay Thompson.
We'll talk about it, but I think it was $35,000. That was like more money than I can ever think of.
When Klay Thompson sat down with Maverick Carter on the show Needing Dough, Thompson described his first paycheck of $35,000 as incredible and as more money than I could ever think of. It's a pretty big jump to go from essentially making nothing as a college kid to a $2 million salary. So what did Thompson spend his first paycheck on? A pool table. Number 8, Chris Paul, shopping spree.
This is our first year together, all of us, and we talk about everything, the good, the bad, the indifferent.
Chris Paul decided in 2005 that he would leave college 2 years early in order to enter the NBA draft. Paul's agent offered him a $100,000 advance, but his parents thought $25,000 would be plenty enough for this college dropout to spend. Maybe they were a little sore that he was leaving school. Anyway, Chris Paul was stunned to see so much cash. The first thing he did was to take his girlfriend and another couple to a mall and turn them loose in the stores to, in his words, just get something. Number 7, Luka Doncic.
Always put the games on. Normally I play Fortnite too, so I watch both. But yeah, I watch the games.
Slovenian-born Luka Doncic has been playing pro basketball since he was 16 years old. But before his days as a pro began, in his first encounter with basketball as an 8-year-old, he was so astoundingly better than everybody else that the coaches of his kids' league moved him up an age bracket after only a few minutes of play. He went on to be a star in the EuroLeague and, upon entering the NBA at age 19, won the Rookie of the Year. Doncic has also had a thing for cars and Jennifer Aniston, and dreamed of driving a Porsche as a kid. So even though European players don't have the eye-watering contracts that NBA players enjoy, Doncic still racked in enough dough to buy his dream car when he was barely even old enough to get behind the wheel. His transportation of choice was a blue Porsche Panamera with custom black rims that he called the most beautiful car in the world. Number 6, Shaq.
I always tell people this story. I spent $1 million in 30 minutes. I get a check for $1 million from my trading card company.
Shaq supposedly spent his first $1 million within an hour of signing the contract. He started with a $150,000 Mercedes-Benz and quickly returned to the same dealer and said, "Make it a double," as a gift for his dad. Then he paid off his mom's house and spent the rest on shiny, shiny gold. Shaq learned valuable lessons from this wild money-spending extravaganza. First of all, he thought a $1 million contract meant you had $1 million to spend. So he spent it without paying any of the taxes or agent fees that come along with such a huge payday, later finding out that he was in the hole. He also learned from the local bank manager that he needed help keeping track of and responsibly spending his money, or he'd be a player that retired with nothing. Shaq has taken these lessons to heart and turned his NBA riches into an impressive fortune. Number 5, Zion Williamson.
The thing that surprised me the most is how much my teammates looked at me and trying to make an impact.
They say taking a charge from Zion Williamson is like getting hit by a Jeep. But seriously, the impact of a charge from Zion is about 300 pounds, which is literally the same force generated by a head-on collision with a Jeep driving 10 miles per hour. Physics aside, Williamson is one of the hottest NBA stars to ever emerge in pro basketball. The buzz around this young man is incredible. He's 6'6", 285 pounds, and can dunk from the free throw line. So I would imagine the Jeep comparison is correct. So it is only fitting that Zion purchased a Jeep with his first paycheck. He actually bought it for his brother and had it souped up with all the amenities. Back in the day, before players were landing gigantic contracts fresh out of high school and college, there was a generation of players who started out slow and gradually grew into big money as their playing careers proved successful. Some might think this was actually beneficial since it allowed athletes to transition slowly from making nothing into serious cash, and therefore help them learn how to manage their finances. Number 4, Steve Kerr.
In your front. Steve
Kerr. Set of golf clubs.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr is one of the more modest players on this list. As a player, he was often overshadowed by Jordan and Pippen. His salary was also overshadowed by many of the superstars, as he made less than $1 million per season until his final few years in the league. So his first paycheck scored him a brand new set of golf clubs. Number 3, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley came home on his first NBA payday with, count them, not 1, but 2 Oldsmobiles. One for his mom and one for his grandmother. Number 2, Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller was born, raised, and college educated in California's beautiful temperate climate. So when he began his career in the much less predictable Midwestern city of Indianapolis, Reggie had to spend his first paycheck on a winter coat. Number 1, Allen Iverson.
It's my favorite player and he's the best player ever to me.
Allen was a role model. Good or bad, he was a role model.
Allen Iverson lands at the top of this list because he is perhaps the most irresponsible spender in NBA's history. He'd be a front runner for the most irresponsible spender of all time. From the moment he received his first payout, AI showered his entourage in gifts and fine dining. He wanted to take care of the people he was close to, but this came at an expense of basically everything he earned through his basketball prowess. Iverson reportedly kept his money in trash bags around his house, which would every now and then go missing. He's also said to have purchased a new car after forgetting where he parked it at an airport. Since his retirement, there has been rumors that Iverson has gone broke, but it looks like Reebok set him up back in the day for lasting financial security. His 2001 contract with the company guaranteed AI $800,000 a year for life, as well as a $32 million trust fund, which he can't access until he turns 55 in the year 2030. So he may have to trim back his rumored $360,000 a month lifestyle, but he's going to be just fine. Alright my friends, you know how these NBA players spent their first paychecks. Now it's time for you to go spend yours. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, keep hustling.